Hello. Hi everyone. Good morning. In this tutorial, we are going to focus on mobile automation testing using Appium on an iOS. In the real world, whenever you are working on a mobile automation, the pain factor that we encounter is with respect to the iOS automation and the various issues that we will encounter and the solutions basically. That's the reason, as part of this tutorial, I have covered about the configuration part, followed by the inspector, an end-to-end scenario on an iOS application, followed by with respect to the real-time issues and the solutions that you need to implement were covered as part of this tutorial. While practicing the topics, if you encounter any issues, feel free to drop me an email to my email ID surendra.jagannathan@gmail.com. And even we have our website www.lebi.com, wherein which we are placing complete end-to-end videos on various automation tools in regional languages in both the English and as well as the Telugu. If you would like to explore further content, do visit our website. Wish you good luck, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay, the agenda for today and tomorrow is only focusing on iOS. Okay, focusing on iOS applications. And for these iOS applications, what I have done is I have downloaded one application, UICatalog application. Okay, this is the app that I have downloaded. I have directly downloaded this app source code from GitHub, and I'm using that particular app. And another app that I'm using out over here is the SaaS demo app that you have shared. These two things I'm going to use for our complete iOS scenarios. Whatever the scenarios we have studied in Android, the similar set of scenarios we are going to study: handling of a text field, buttons, check boxes, pop-ups or alerts, basically swipe functionality, each and everything, we are going to study on this particular applications. And these are the two apps that I'm using. And if you come across any other app and if you feel that it's a bit interesting, do share a few more apps so that we can explore on all those apps. And firstly, I just want to show you from where we need to download this UICatalog app. So UICatalog for iOS, I'm just searching here and I'm navigating to this GitHub. And from here, I just downloaded this source code. And usually this code is going to download as a zip file. And once this zip file got downloaded, I just performed an unzip operation and I extracted that complete code, and I have a place at that complete code here. Okay, and I have a place at that complete code here. So usually for these iOS applications, so we need two different types of app files with us. If your requirement is to handle iPhone simulators, we need an .app file. And if your requirement is to handle iPhone real devices, okay, real devices, we need a .ipa file. And for this .ipa file, we need all these provisional certificates and some kind of a confirmation from the developer perspective and a lot of certificates and all those things we need to do for this iOS real devices. For now, we will be focusing more on simulators, and at the end, I will definitely show you how exactly we can trigger this one on a real devices. Also, I'll show you on a quick glimpse. Okay, and after this one, basically, in order to work on any kind of an applications on an iOS, I have downloaded the source code now. And before jumping on with the app files and how we need to use these, okay, how exactly we need to use these mobile applications automation on an iOS, first and foremost thing that we should know is about the configuration part. Though we have covered the configuration part earlier, I just want to give you a quick glimpse on the configuration that we need to do on a Mac machine. Okay, this is the configuration that we guys need to do on a Mac machine. So the first thing is you need to download all these stuff. So JDK, Eclipse, Appium Desktop, Node.js, and an Android Studio. These are all the things that we need to download ahead in your machine, and you need to install these softwares in your machine. Directly, you can search for JDK download in a Google, Eclipse download in Google, Appium desktop in a Google, Node.js, Android Studio. All these things you will find as a DMG file for a Mac. You can download these DMG files, which are a generic installation files itself, and you can double tap on them and you can install those files. On top of this one, what additionally we need to do whenever we are working on an iOS is basically we need to download an Xcode, and this Xcode are downloaded from our App Store. Whatever the App Store you have, Apple Store, you just log in into this App Store, and here search for Xcode, and download this Xcode from this App Store. So whenever you downloaded the Xcode from an App Store, by default, the latest version of the Xcode will be installed to your machine. Usually, few people will suggest that you can download the app Xcode from directly official websites, not only from an app store, but the suggested way is go download this Xcode from an app store itself. Okay, go and download this one from an app store. Once this configuration is completed, once we are done with all these configuration, then precisely on Appium, okay, we need to run certain commands in a terminal. So there are about 5 to 6 different commands are there that we need to run on a terminal. So the first command is you need to install the homebrew. And once the homebrew got installed, we need to install the Appium. And while installing the Appium, if at all you are encountering any kind of an issues, we have certain options. Basically, you just need to use these change permissions, these two commands. And once you are done with all these things, you need to install the iDevice installer. And whenever you encounter any iDevice installer error, you just need to use this command. And on top of this one, you need to install this cartridge, and later you need to install this iOS deploy. So these are the things that you need to install. Roughly, there are about 5 to 6 commands that you need to trigger in your Mac terminal to do a configuration. And once you are done with all these things, then the next point here is in Windows, we usually update the environmental variables with an Android and Java home, all these things, right? The similar way in a Mac also, we need to update this information in a bash profile. Where you will find this bash profile means in the users, in your username folder. If you go there, so here I'm just going down. So here /users, and I'm just navigating to my username here. And this username, by default, the hidden files are not displaying. You can press Command Shift and dot, all the hidden files will display. And here there is a bash profile. Right click on a bash profile, open with a text file. If you are unable to find a bash profile here, then what you need to do means you need to open a Mac terminal, and on that terminal vim.bash profile, you can click on it. Automatically the bash profile will be created for you. Okay, you can just do this operation. Automatically the bash profile will be created, and by default the bash profile content is empty. So what we need to do means in this bash profile, okay, what are all these commands I have listed down? You can simply copy these commands and paste these commands in a bash profile just by updating your system folder location. See here, I'm just setting this Android home, and this is what the location where exactly my Android home is. And later I'm setting the platform tools, and a tools has a bin folder. All these things I'm setting to the path. And the similar way, I'm just updating the Java home, and all these things I'm setting to a path variable. I'm copying this a complete information, and I am pasting here in a bash profile. Okay, this complete information I have placed in a bash profile. And once you have updated this a bash profile in the same folder where you have a bash profile, right click on a bash profile, copy it and paste it again, and rename it to .jet profile. So on a Mac recently, what's happening is basically you need to update these .jet profile and as well as a bash profile with all the required information like an Android home and all those things. So you need to update these two places. Once these two things got updated, once you have updated these two folders, basically the bash profile and as well as a zip file, to cross check basically whether these machine got configured successfully or not, you can open a terminal and you can try ADB space devices. If you are getting the list of devices, then you can confirm that the configuration is successful. This is the basic thing, guys. So here we have a steps. The first step, I'm just repeating, the first step is download all these files and install them. And the second step is right from one here, we have all the 5 different steps are there. One is install a homebrew, next install Appium from the terminal, next install the iDevice installer, cartridge and iOS deploy. That's it. Once you are done with all these things, this is what a second step is. Second step below. And let me add a note here for this. The first step, this is what the first step below. Okay, this is what the first step is. Once you are done with the second step and as well as the first step, then this is what your third step is. Okay, so I'm just going down and let me add this as a third step below. I'm just placing this third step here. That's it. These are the 3 different steps that you need to follow while configuring. Okay, so while configuring your Mac machine. Okay, perfect. Once you are done with all these things, then definitely you are in a good shape to kickstart with a mobile automation on this particular Mac machine. Okay, so I'm done with all these configuration. Additionally, there is a one more small point that we need to do. Fourth step below. Okay, so what exactly the fourth step we need to do? Open your Appium desktop. Okay, once after you open your Appium desktop, let me show you here. I'm just closing this up and here edit the configuration. Click on edit the configuration, then update Android home and Java home locations here. Okay, so in the editor configuration, I'm just updating the Java home and as well as the Android home locations. These values you have already placed in a bash profile. The same values you just need to place it, save and restart. Just restart your Appium server. That's it. These are all the 3 different or 4 different steps which you need to do as a kind of a prerequisites for configuring this Mac machine. Okay. Gets, and once we have a configured everything, then if at all you are working on your projects, assume that your project is they have a development team and those guys are developing, they will be providing you the app files for your application. As we are working on a generic applications, that's the reason I have shown you how to download this UI kit catalog. So here is a reference link for that. Here you can download this UI kit catalog, and here is the folder where exactly we have this UI kit folder. Okay, I just placed it this UI kit folder, and UI kit catalog is having a 2 different sub folders. I'm just navigating to the UI kit catalog here. And how exactly we can work on these apps is, okay, so once we are done with the complete configuration, okay, once we are done with the complete configuration part, then simply navigate to the downloaded app folder location, and inside that location usually you can find an .xcode project. Inside that you can find a .xcode project here. This is the one. Okay, double tap on that particular file. So whenever you perform a double tap on that particular file, automatically it will launch that particular project in the Xcode. Okay, automatically it will launch that particular project in an Xcode. See here, this is what an UI kit catalog is, and this is what launched in this particular Xcode. Okay, this is what an app that we have downloaded. So from Google or from GitHub, we have downloaded the source code of that particular application. That's not an actual application that we want to use. We have just downloaded only the source code. Now from the source code, we need to generate the app file to handle in simulator. So what exactly a simulator means? It's an iOS virtual devices. So using an Xcode, you can create your simulators and you can use those simulators for our automation testing. Okay, for our automation testing, you can use those simulators. So here on this particular Xcode, you can see that UIKit catalog is an application, and this is what a device is, iPhone 12 Pro Max. And these are the list of simulators that is supported. Assume that you have a connected your real device, that real device will be populated somewhere here. Okay, your real device will also be populated somewhere here, and these are the complete set of devices whatever we have, and I'm choosing iPhone 12 Pro Max for installing this UIKit catalog. So what are we going to do right now? We are going to build this application UIKit catalog on this iPhone 12 Pro Max. Once the build is successful, this application, it will generate a .app file which is compatible for this particular device. So what I'm doing right now, here is a build button. I'm just clicking on this build button. It will take a few seconds to build this particular application on that particular device. So here we got a build successful, launching that particular device. So it will try to launch that iPhone 12 Pro Max, whatever the device is there, that particular device, it will try to launch it, and this application will be installed. And you can see that running UIKit catalog on an iPhone 12 Pro Max. If you can see this iPhone 12 Pro Max, whatever the app file source code we have downloaded, the complete app source code is being populated here. Kids, and now if you want, I don't want to continue this Xcode build, I'm just doing a stop. And once you have stopped this one, in the source code, basically, there will be a products folder. And inside the products folder, you can find an UIKit catalog .app file. This is what a .app file is. We are using basically, this is what a .app file is that we need to use. So whenever you select this .app file, at the extreme right end, you can find a full path. Okay, you can find a full path. So copy the full path and paste this the full path of that app in your desired capabilities or Appium inspector or your director program. But this is the way how exactly we can generate an .app file from the source code that we have downloaded from Google. Okay, good. Done the deal. Do you have any questions for me on this topic, guys, before jumping on with the further concept?
No,
Okay.
CMD.
Yeah, cool. Done the deal. So what we need to do right now is, so whatever the app files that we have generated right now, using this app file, we need to prepare certain test scripts. So let us rejoin the session and let us discuss that particular point. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Mobile Automation Testing Training Program. Today we are going to study about the most important thing, which is configuring iOS. It's easy for us to configure a Windows machine, but moving on to a Mac specific to an APM, it's really tough for us to configure that. So it will end up with a bunch of issues. So you should be more focused when we are configuring APM on a Mac machine. So for which I have documented all the steps anyways, which we are going to upload along with this video. Apart from that, whatever the Mac machine you are using, in that Mac machine, there are certain prerequisites which you need to follow. So here, the preconditions are specifically here. What I'm doing means I'm using a virtual machine software. Within that virtual machine, I'm using a Mac inside that. And that too, the Mac version is 10.15.x version. Okay, so here the various preconditions are your Mac machine should be configured with Java. So you need to download Java and you need to install Java in your machine. And here is a reference link which you can use in order to download the Java. And once after you downloaded the Java in your machine, on your downloads folder, I'm trying to open the Finder to show you how the Java looks like. On your downloads folder, you can find this Java. It's going to download as a JMG or DMG file. You just need to double click on that and follow the installations. So here JDK8 I have a downloaded, which is related to the Mac operating system. I can see it in my downloads and I have a install that one. And once we are done with this Java, then I have a downloaded Eclipse editor. So you can download the Eclipse editor from their official website itself, and for your reference even I have added their URL. And moreover, if you downloaded your Eclipse editor, you can find this Eclipse installer in your machine. Okay, Eclipse installer in your machine. And after that, the third configuration is Xcode. Usually you can find an Xcode specific to the App Store itself. You don't find the Xcode anywhere else. So I'm just launching my App Store. As I am on a Mac, I'm just launching my App Store. Once it got launched, let us search for Xcode in that. Why we need these Xcode means moving further, we will be using this Mac machine in order to automate the iPhone or the iOS applications, in which Xcode will play a crucial role, which is a mandatory for us to get the application installed on a mobile phone, or even in order to generate the IPA files, and a bunch of configurations is there for this particular Xcode. So here the App Store got loaded, and from the left hand side menu I'm using a search, Xcode search. I'm just performing a search operation here. Let's wait. Once it got loaded, Xcode, yes, Xcode. So one small thing which we need to consider is, as I'm using a virtual machine, so the speed of this is bit slow. Okay, unlike our regular Mac machine, it's not up to the mark. Basically, the speed of this machine is very slow. So that's the reason we should be more consistent on this one, and we just need to wait until it got a response. Okay, cool. And once you have a search for this, you can find it here. Click on this one, it will navigate to here. Click on a get, automatically you will get this Xcoder. Get an install, you will get this Xcoder in your machine. And then in order to get this Xcoder, usually what you need to do is you need to log in into your Apple developer accounts. Okay, so first of all, you should create an Apple developer account, and before doing this one, you need to log in into your Apple developer account. This is the another step which you need to consider it as a precondition. And once after we are done with this Xcode download and install, you can find this Xcode here on your desktop itself. You can find it here. And then the next one is you need to download is an Appium desktop version. So here is a reference link for this Appium desktop. Let me open this reference link on a browser. I just want to show you something there. So based on that, you can download it. So let me open it up. Okay, I launched my Chrome browser. Let's wait for a second again. Or in the meantime, I'm trying to launch my Safari browser. As Chrome is not responding, I'm just trying to launch my Safari browser. Let's see. Let's pop up. Okay, so this browser got launched, and on this browser, I'm entering that Chrome release. This one, the APM releases URL here. Yeah, guys. So in the last video, we just opened this APM screen here. So if you clearly observe, there is a pre-releases for the latest version 1.17.1. So these pre-releases we are not supposed to install. So here, the latest release is a v1.15.1. So this is the version which you need to install. Again, you need to download this stuff which is related to our Mac machine. So here APM Mac 1.15.1.dmg. Once after you have successfully installed that one, you can find this APM on your machine. Okay, cool. So let me open up my running notes and show you what else we need. So we have a completed Java, Eclipse, Xcode, Appium desktop, and the last one is a Node.js. Go to the Node.js official website. See here, I'm launching the Node.js official website here, directly the downloads screen. And from here, download the Node.js, which is related to the Mac OS. So I hit it, there's a first link. Okay, let me navigate to that. So this is the screen, and here I just want to download the Node.js related to my Mac. So here, Mac installer packages 64-bit. Click on that and install it. How would you confirm whether the Node.js is installed or not? Means open the terminal. See, I'm just launching my terminal, and I am cross-checking whether the Node.js is successfully installed or not using node-version and npm-v. Node-v and npm-v are the two different commands. See here, node-v. So it is displaying as a node version, and the same way npm-v. So it is displaying as the version. The reason why we need this node is basically the Appium on a Mac, you need to install bunch of components from the node itself. So that's the reason Node.js installation is a mandatory for us. So I have downloaded the file from the Node.js official website, and I have installed that. And after that, I'm confirming in my terminal whether the Node.js got installed or not. And here it is displaying these versions as a Node.js got successfully installed. So these are all the various prerequisites which we need in order to work on Appium configuration. In the next session, we will see what exactly the core configuration required for us to work on Appium. That's all I have for today, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Mobile Automation Testing Training Program. In the last session, we have seen all the preconditions required for us to work on this mobile automation testing. Today, we are going to study about the configuration part, the actual configuration part. So this is the detailed documentation where I have listed down what are all the things we need to install in our machine. So the first thing is we need to check out whether the Node.js is installed in our machine or not. We have already checked that whether the Node.js is installed or not. So we are good with this command. The next step here is try to install a brew. Okay, so we need to check out whether this brew is installed or not. Okay, so let us cross check, let us open the terminal. So whatever the configuration we are doing right now, it's completely related to iOS, and you have to do it on a terminal itself. Okay, let's switch to my Mac and see. So let me copy this command, install brew. So go here, open the terminal again in my Mac machine. So I'm trying to open the terminal in the Mac. Let us see. Okay, install brew node. So here, if you check out a brew, no such a file or a directory. So we are getting some warning messages basically. Right. So what I'm doing right now means in order to install this brew, okay, I'm using this command, directly copy this command from here, control C, ruby hyphen e, the home brew. I'm copying this command, go back to your terminal and paste that command here. So I'm just trying to paste that command here. One second, there is an issue in pasting that. Control V, yeah, ruby, okay, copy it, and here in the terminal paste it. Okay, hit enter button. So it's trying to install this home brew in our machine. So as I told you earlier, the Mac configuration is completely different. We are not doing all these things in our Windows machine. The only thing what you will do means simply you will install Appium desktop version, which will automatically download all the configuration. Whereas for Mac, you need to download a node, you need to download the brew and cartridge. Too many things are there which you need to download, which we are going to see as part of this session. So let this install so that we can continue with the further steps. See here, press return to continue. Yeah, I hit enter, and the password is I entered my password too. and it's trying to install all the things. When at the time of installation, it asked a password, guys. So I have entered my system password there. Whatever the Mac machine password I'm using, I have provided that a Mac machine password so that it's trying to install all the required components. See here, software updated tool, downloading the command line tools for Xcode. Okay, good. It's installing all the things whichever it is required for us. Okay, good. Let it install all the things. And now let's go back to, okay, let's go back to our Eclipse or the Word document. And once this one is installed, brew node install. So as we have already installed a node, you no need to use these commands again. Directly I can use npm-g install apm. So if you can specify up to here, whichever the latest version is there, it will download that particular version. If we are specifying at the rate 1.8, it means it's going to install specifically this APM version. So what I want to do means I don't want to go with any specific APM version. So I'm using npm-g install APM. -g is representing that globally install this particular software. But before that, let's check out the terminal. See here, it's still installing that. Downloaded the command line tools, installing the command line tools for Xcode. It will take a few more minutes to complete that homebrew. Let's wait for a minute, and once this is done, then we will run these APM installation commands. So if you can check out the terminal now, guys, installation was successfully completed now. So it installed all the things, whatever basic components required for it. All the stuff got installed successfully. Now, as we have seen earlier, we need to install npm-g apm, install apm. I just want to do apm installation here. So go to this terminal again, and let me paste this command here, which is used to install apm. So here I'm not specifying the version, guys. Whichever the latest version is there, it will pick that a latest version. Again, I'm hitting this enter button. So these installations will take more time, guys. That's the reason what I'm doing means, after hitting that particular command, I'm just taking a pause and then I'm just showing you after that. Okay, so here when I'm trying to install this apm, I'm getting some error messages. Let me look into these error messages. So here we are getting check permissions, missing write access to this particular module. Permissions are denied, so it is looking for some kind of permissions. So as I told you that everything needs an admin access here, so let me try to check the permissions whatever I have, and let me update the permissions before executing this command. So when I explored about this one in a Google, I came to know that we can set the permissions using this chmod. And here what I have done means I have placed that command in my terminal. See here, sudo, and this particular write permissions we are giving for this one. And whenever I place it that command in a terminal, immediately it is asking me my admin password. So whenever I have entered the password, it returned as a success. Now what I am doing right now means, let me try to rerun this apm command once again. I'm trying to reinstall this one now. So this time it's trying to install the stuff. Earlier, within a fraction of seconds, we ended up with a check permissions issue. But after executing this sudo command, we are not encountering that error message. So this is the most important thing required for us. So what I'm doing right now means I'm copying this command and I'm placing in my document, so that in future, whenever you try to install this one, you can use this particular command. Okay, let me paste it here. Use the below command if you are getting any permissions issue in the terminal. Okay, if you are getting any permissions issue in the terminal, then only use it, else you no need to use this particular commands. Okay, whenever you are getting an issue, then you have to use this particular commands. And now see, this time it is trying to install all the apm components, and see here the apm is trying to install within this directory itself. See here, it's trying to install all the components here. Whichever the stuff required for APM, it's downloading everything and it installed all the things here. How would I know means, see here, earlier we got an issue with respect to this particular stuff, which is user local lib. I'm into this node modules package now. Let's navigate to the load modules. See here, you can find the APM. Whatever the APM configuration installation is done, you can find the whole full configuration here in this particular one itself. Okay, within this particular folder itself, you can find this one. Okay, that's it. This is a simple thing how you need to install APM desktop. Okay, so these are the bunch of stuff which we have inside it. So one among which is a APM WebDriver agent. If you want to execute your test script on a real iOS device, then we need to talk about this APM WebDriver agent. Anyways, moving further, once we started our scripting execution, then we will study about this particular command. So if you observe now, we are done with the node installation, we are done with the brew installation, and we are done with the APM installation. Let us say the further installation in the next session. Thank you. Bye. Hi everyone. Welcome to this mobile automation testing training program and the configuration on Mac. So we are done up to here. Let us start with the installation of from this command. So here, brew install iDevice installer. I'm copying it from here and let me go back to my terminal. As I told you, everything we will be using from the terminal itself. Brew install iDevice installer. I'm trying to install this particular component. Again, it will take a few more minutes to download all these components. I'm just doing that. And once we are done with this particular component, then we need to download this three things. Okay, up to roughly there are 3 to 4 are there. We need to install the cartridge and we need to install iOS deploy, device console, XCUI pretty, and libby install movices. And the remaining things are related to the real device. WebDriver configuration, which is related to real device execution. Okay, real device execution. So which we will see moving further, but let us try to cover up to here. Okay, so iDevice installer is installing. Let me go to my Mac virtual machine and see the terminal. See here, it's trying to download all the components. Okay, once these components are successfully installed, then I will jump for cartridge. Okay, cool. Let it download. Let's wait for a minute. So in the meantime, I will pass this video once the installation till the installation got completed. So there's a iDevice installation is completed. Now I am copying this cartridge and I am going there and I am trying to install this cartridge here now. So let me place this command and hit install. So I'm just everything we are doing in a terminal itself. We are not doing anything other than the terminal, the installation specific to the Mac. Okay, it's trying to download all the configurations. Yeah, it's done. And once this is done, then go back here. The next one is iOS deploy tools. Copy this one, go to the terminal again and place this command here and hit install. Okay, just hit enter button which will automatically install it. And there is an issue here. Okay, let's look into this issue. iOS device script build failed to install. This is probably not a problem with the APM. There is a additionally logging output. Fine. So here what I am doing means not installed on iOS 10.x version. Okay, let's do that later. And again, so I'm just marking all the comments which are not installed so that I can come back and I can revisit the things which are not installed. Now again, I'm trying to install the next component, which is the device console, and let's see back. So if at all any issues are there later at the time of our execution, we will see them. And even this is also not installing. Okay, even this is not installing. And let me try to install this pretty. So go back here and let's try to place this pretty tool here. So gem install pretty. Let's see whether this is installing. Okay, so you don't have a permissions to this module. So we are getting a permissions issue. Okay, let's see. Okay, we are getting a permissions issue and brew install. Let me try this one. Libby mobile. Let me try installing this one. Okay, cool. So I'm just trying to install these Libby mobile devices. Let's see. Okay, it got installed successfully. So the only installation it missed here is these three. So I'm just adding a comment stating that these are not installed. Okay, we can revisit these tools. Okay, moving further. So, okay, done up to here. We are done with all the installations. We are just left with the iOS deploy. So let me try installing this iOS deploy once again. So if not, we will try to analyze why it is not installing. So let me try to install this iOS deploy. So here we are getting some error messages related to that. Let's try to look into that and let's try to analyze this one. Okay, so here a complete log is available. Failed at iOS pre-install script. So this is not a problem with the npm. This is a problem with the additional output. Okay, fine. So here let me copy this error message. So Xcode select XUI builder requires an Xcode, but active developer. So it is looking for some kind of an Xcode which is not identifying. So okay, let's see. Let me try to launch the existing Xcode and see here why this is failing. If you can look into this one, okay, get started with a playground. Okay, let me do that. Let me just explore these options here. But okay, I'm just hitting a next. I'm just trying to launch my Xcode first of all, and later we can see how this is going to work. So I just hit this create button. Okay, new Xcode session got created. Now go back to the terminal and let's try to install this iOS deploy and see. Okay, Xcode select error tool Xcode build requires an Xcode, but active developers directory something. Okay, let me copy this error message and let's go to Google and search for this. Let me search for this error message. Okay, so fine. Let's identify the solution and then we'll fix this issue, guys. Now, so here, guys, so I'm finding one solution to run this command in a terminal. So let me place that particular command once before executing the iOS deploy. And now let me try to install this iOS deploy again and see whether we are getting that error message or not. Let me try doing that. So when I was searching for this solution in a Google, I found that one sudo command is there, which we can use in order to allow the installation for this iOS deploy. So I tried hitting that particular one now, and it looks like it's trying to install. Okay, it looks like it's trying to install. Yeah, the command line tools, and it is updating the information. Yeah, good. It will take a few minutes to install this one. Now what I'm doing means whatever the command I have copied, so iOS deploy tool. So this one, whenever we are getting some error message related to Xcode build, use below command. Okay, this will help you to fix this sudo command. So here the sudo commands, whatever I have given, guys, whenever you encounter the issue, then only use that. By default, you no need to use those commands. Whenever you are getting any kind of a failures, only you have to use it. In the middle of my installation, it's prompting me to enter my credentials. I have given my admin credentials there on a pop-up, and it's trying to install all the required things. Okay, and moreover, it depends on the permissions whatever you have on your machine. It will prompt these warning messages. So whenever I am doing in my another Mac machine, I never encountered these kind of an issues. These are a bit new for me on this virtual machine. So here finally, if you observe, the build got succeeded and iOS deployed got successfully installed. And let's try to install this device console. And moreover, this is not that much important, but anyways, let me try to install this device console and see whether we are getting any warning messages or error messages related to the deploy. But one good thing is, guys, whenever you ended up with any issues, just search in a Google for the solution and then fix those issues. Okay, just search for solution in a Google and then fix those issues. That's the only thing which you need to do. Okay, framework not found for a mobile device, a linker command failed using an extension, installer make exist to failed at a device 01 installer. Okay, let me copy this one and let me try to see if I can find out a solution for this one too. And this is not that much important, but let me try looking into this solution too. Okay, so I found a couple of solutions. Let me try exploring those solutions. So guys, one thing which you need to know is whenever we are ending up into an issues means it's not that we are completely blocked. We have a bunch of blogs and solutions in place. You just need to search in a Google, identify the solutions and try implementing that solution in your machine. Okay, try implementing that solution in your machine. That's the only thing which you need to do. Definitely your issues will be fixed, but the only thing is identifying the right solution is the most important thing. Okay, cool. So make sure that you will perform XUI test driver. You will perform install of Appium XUI driver, then manually configure this. Okay, so these are something related to the WebDriver agent project, so I don't want to touch it now. Okay, I don't want to touch these stuff now, but anyways, let me copy these iDevice console once. Okay, so what I'm doing, so here globally iDevice console. Okay, I'm doing more or less the same thing. Yeah, let me try here once again and see whether I'm getting this. Okay, I'm getting this error message. That's fine. So whenever we are doing with this Appium on a real device, I hope this configuration will fix the issue. Good enough. We are done with this configuration now, guys. So let's jump on and try creating a new script and see how we are going to work. Okay, cool. That's all I have. See you again in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.
So this is what the app file is, right? Our app file location. I just captured this app file location. Now, what I'm going to do right now means go to Google. Okay, go to Google directly, search for Appium desired capabilities. I just want to explore more on a desired capabilities to see if anything is specific that I need to pass for an iOS. So usually whenever you are working on an iOS, basically you need to pass a few more desired capabilities that we have passed in Android. One desired capability that we need to pass here for this one is a UDID capability that we need to pass. Unique device identifier for the connected physical device or for the simulator also. We just need to pass this UDID in an Mac. So it means, let me show you this Appium. I'm just navigating to the Appium inspector session, where in this Appium inspector session, what I'm trying to do means I just want to pass on my desired capabilities. So what are all the capabilities we have? We have a platform name, platform version, and all those things. I'm directly passing my capabilities here. Platform name, I'm just passing it as an iOS. Platform version, device name, automation name, and an app. These are the 5 standard capabilities: platform name, platform version, device name, and an app. These are the 5 capabilities that I have passed here. And additionally, one more capability that I have passed is an unique identification for that particular simulator. So the process in order to identify the UDID for the simulator and the real device is a differ. I'll show you how to get the UDID for this particular simulator. In order to get the UDID for this simulator, the only command that you need to use is in your terminal, instruments
space hyphen s space devices. This is what the command you need to use in your terminal. And whenever you hit the enter button, the list of connected virtual devices for this particular machine will be prompted here. Okay, these are the list of virtual devices connected, out of which your simulator that you are using here is iPhone 12 Pro Max. So this is what the simulator that we are using. iPhone 12 Pro Max is the simulator that we are using, right? Where is this simulator? Here. So this one is iPhone 12 Pro Max. iOS 14.5 is my simulator configuration. I'm going here. From this list, if you see, basically iPhone 12 Pro 14.5, and this is what the UD ID for that device. Whatever the value is there within this braces, we can call it as a UD ID for that particular device. You can get the UDID from here and you can just place it there. So ours is 12 Pro Max. So here iPhone 12 Pro Max 14.5, and this is what the UDID is. I'm just copying this UDID from the terminal and I'm killing my terminal there, and I'm just placing one more extra capability which is an UDID, and I'm specifying that a UDID value here. And once after you entered all these desired capabilities, see here guys, automation name, platform version, device name, app, and a UDID. So we have a generated the app file, and the app file is in a different location, right? So get this app file location what you have placed in a notepad, and I'm updating my app file location here. This is what my app file is, and I'm saving these capabilities. Usually the reason why we need to save these capabilities is basically in future, if at all you want to identify on this application again and again, you no need to retype the capabilities. You can navigate to the saved capabilities, whatever the name you have given, you can click on that edit, and the capabilities information will display, and you can directly hit on a start session. And okay, you can directly hit on a start session. And usually for few people, due to version compatibility issues, if at all you might have installed an older version of a Appium, an issue that encounters out over there is basically you were able to enter this information and you can click on a start session, but whenever you click on a save, no error it will prompt and nothing is being saved to the saved capabilities. In such situations, the only thing is you need to do is uninstall the Appium and reinstall the Appium will solve your issue. Okay, uninstall the Appium and reinstall the Appium with the latest versions will solve that kind of an issues. What is the issue means? If the capabilities are not being saved, then you need to uninstall and you need to reinstall that capabilities. And whenever you click on a start session, automatically it will try to establish a new session with this set of capabilities. And if you can see, this parallel server log, what it is doing right now, see here, it is trying to establish a connection with that particular mobile instance, and it will try to install the app on that particular mobile phone. Let's see, basically at the very first time whenever you are installing the app, it will take a few seconds more to load and to establish a connection with that particular app. And one thing here is, whenever you are working on Appium on a Mac, WebDriver agent is a mandatory thing. Okay, WebDriver agent is a mandatory thing, but whenever you are working on a virtual devices, you no need to use this WebDriver agent directly. Okay, so directly your Appium will work on the virtual devices. If at all you are targeting to work on any kind of a real devices, then this WebDriver agent configuration is required, that we will study as part of a upcoming sessions. Probably sometime in the next week, I will be explaining you how exactly we can establish a connection with the real devices. Okay, as of now, our focus is more on this particular simulator and the UICatalog application itself. So this is what the app is, the complete app file, and it got generated. And if you see, the session got established successfully, and this is what the Appium inspector session looks like. And there are multiple options here. You can choose any of the options and you can perform those things. And here I'm selecting this search, and for this search, I just want to perform a search operation. So I just selected this search, but here the locators are not being populated properly. See here, I was unable to identify the locators properly. In such situations, the only way that we can do is we can navigate into the app source and we can identify that information. See here, there is a default search where in which you can enter some value here, and yeah, that's it. You can enter some value. This is what the application is working on. So for which, what I am doing right now means to perform this particular operation, a search field, I am trying to navigate to the source code in order to identify these search attributes. See, this is pointing to the UI catalog and this is pointing to the rest of the web page or the app screen. So it is displaying as form of a table. So I'm just going with this search. Randomly, I clicked on these operations, and here I can see name is a search and search view controller. And here, if you want to click on this name, if you can see here, the locators are there and it has an accessibility ID. This accessibility ID is pointing to this search field. So directly you can use an accessibility ID and you can perform this operation clicking on it. So let's go ahead and let us try to create a simple program that will be entering or clicking on this search and in the next screen in order to perform certain operations. So what I am doing right now means for that, whatever the Android native app code I have prepared, I'm just copying the same codes and I'm placing that the same code here. Maybe I'm just creating a new class or a new package here, and I'm naming it as an iOS code base here. I just want to maintain my iOS code base here. And on this one, let me rename this code as search. Okay, iOS search functionality I want to do. So here in this search, I just want to update my this set of information. Whatever this set of information is there, I just want to update my this set of information. So here, automation name, it's an XCUI test. Platform name, iOS. Platform version. So what is the version of this device? It's a 14.5. Okay, and what is your device name? I just want to go with an only one device and I'm just giving it as an iPhone. An additional capability that we need to pass is an UDID. So come back here and specify UDID. And in order to get this UDID, anyways, you just need to use the terminal once again. I didn't save my UDID, so I'm just using this command once again, and I'm capturing the UDID from my command prompt, and I'm placing my UDID value here. And once you have all these capabilities, this time you need to create an instance to your iOS driver. I'm creating an instance to my iOS driver. Okay, and then once after we changed it to an iOS driver, I have updated my UDID in this document for my future references. Okay, for my future references. And this is what an app file is. I'm copying this app file and I'm updating my app file in my program. See guys, if you observe your program, the only thing that we have done is whatever the Android earlier capabilities are there, I simply changed all my Android capabilities to an iOS capabilities here. Okay, I simply changed it to my iOS capabilities, and let me try to run my test script and see whether it is working or not. And usually a quick question will rise in our mind. Is this the only place where exactly we need to pass on these capabilities, or any other where exactly we can pass on this UDID? I will tell you a situation where we can have a UDID that can be used in an Android also. But as of now, I was unable to execute the test script, session not created, unable to create a new session. Please check. Original error is, what is the original error? An unknown server side exception. Original error, the bad app. See here, basically, original error. This is not an appropriate app. Okay, this is what this issue is. app does not exist. Okay, app is a bad app or it does not exist. Original error, bad app. Okay, 1 second. Let me check out the capabilities that I have passed once again. X platform name, platform version, device name, UDID, app, and the desired capabilities. That's it, right? I haven't done anything else. 1 second. Let me kill this Appium inspector session once and see what exactly the capabilities that I have passed here. This is what the app file is. I'm trying to update. Okay, so here, let me delete the space in front and let me update this app file properly. Okay, I'm not changing anything, guys. I'm just I have some additional space ahead. I deleted that additional space. I corrected the capabilities and I'm trying to run my script one more time. Okay, so I have some space in front. I deleted that particular space and I'm trying to run my program again. This time I didn't get any errors. The app got installed and the app got launched and it terminated that particular app too. Okay, and it terminated that particular app too. That's it. So this is the way how exactly we can perform these operations. Okay, so this is the way how exactly we can create an instance. Okay, that's fine. I'm good. I created an instance to this particular, okay, I created an instance to this particular, what I can say, iOS, right? So launch app. But now my requirement is I need to perform a search operation here. For this search operation, the only situation that you need to do is you need to click on this search. And I noticed that the search is having an accessibility ID. And here, let me establish the session one more time. And in the meantime, what I'm doing means I know that it is having an accessibility ID and even I have that accessibility ID also. So find element by accessibility ID search. And I want to perform a click operation on that. Okay, and I just want to perform a click operation on that particular identified object. Okay, so what it will happen, it will perform a click operation on this search. And now these options will be populated. And on these options, I just want to pick one more option here, whether it might be a default or a custom search. I can pick on this default option. So here I'm just navigating to the source code and the default is having an accessibility ID. Copy the accessibility ID for the default. And again, I just want to perform a click operation for that. Okay, and I'm just performing a click operation for that. This is what a default thing is. Okay, this is what a default thing is. And once after you performed a click operation, this is the search field, it's being populated. Let's reload the inspector session. And here is the text field where I wanna perform that particular operation. See here, there is a cancel button. Okay, there is a cancel button and there is a search text field. Let us see the locators. You have a type only. Okay, you have a type for this particular field and even see you have a type and others are we don't have any generic locators. Only type is the only locator that we have, type and the text field. And there is a button, basically the cancel button, and this cancel button is having a name property. So let me see if I click on this cancel, what it will happen. If I click on this cancel, okay, so nothing is happening, just 1 second. When I am on this screen, okay, this cancel itself is not working. By default, the cancel is in an invisible mode. So you need to click on this text field and you need to enter some value and later you can perform this cancel. Okay, okay, that's fine. So now in order to do that, this is what a text field is, and it is having a type property. Okay, so what I'm doing means as I have a type of property, I'm trying to write down my XPath at the rate type is equal to and click on a find. See, I was able to identify one particular object and I want to perform test here. I just want to cross check whether this locator is working or not. In the inspector session itself, I used a senkeys command to see whether it is working or not. See here, test got appended out over there, with which I can confirm that this is what a text field property is. Just come back here, driver.find element by XPath, and I'm using this one. First of all, I just want to perform a click operation on the text field, and after performing the click operation on a text field, I just want to enter a Surendra Jagannatham into that field. Okay, I just want to enter Surendra Jagannatham into this field. That's it, guys. This is a simple thing that we have created. And now let me try to run my test script. And after entering the value, there is a close button. And if you click on this close, okay, or a cancel, the search results or the search text what you have entered is, it's been going out basically. Okay, so we can use up to here, or if you want, basically you can perform the further operations also. See, basically there is a clear text and there is an accessibility ID for the clear text also. So here, after performing this operation, driver.find element by accessibility ID, again I'm just using a click command to perform this click operation. Okay, I'm just using a click command to perform this click operation. Gets. Let me try to run my test script and see how exactly the script is performing this operation. I'm just trying to execute my test script, and in parallel, guys, I'm just trying to observe these Appium server log to see if at all any issues are there. I just want to identify that issues here. So I just placed my cursor and okay, it got executed, but nothing is being prompted. Let me try to run my script, and even it was not failed also. Let me try to run my test script again and see whether it is working or not. So I just clicked on a search. Okay, it entered the value and it canceled. Okay, it performed that operation successfully. Okay, so after a few seconds, even it will terminate that particular app too. Done the deal. So this is the way how exactly we can perform a basic operation, which is a search functionality on this iOS app. Okay, any questions from you? Yeah. As part of the today's session, let's start with the activity indicator. Okay, it's not required. Alerts view. Okay, so let's start with this alerts functionality. If at all you have any alerts that are being populated like this in your program, how exactly you need to handle these alerts? Okay, I need to write down a program that will switch to the alert and that should perform these kind of an operations. Okay, so whatever the code that we have created, the search code, copy it and paste that particular program, and I'm naming it as an alert one. So this is what my first alert is, and as there are different types of an alerts, I want to deal with all those alerts. And one rule that we need to consider here is on the first screen, whatever the UI Automator app got populated here, all these objects are having an accessibility IDs. Each and every option is having an accessibility ID, and that value is the name that it is being displayed. If you see the yesterday's example that we have created, we performed a click operation on a search, and for this search, we used an accessibility ID, and the value that you have passed is directly text present on that. So the similar way, if at all you want to go to the alerts view, I can directly use driver.find element by accessibility ID, and I can use this alerts view. But to cross-check whether the point, whatever I am conveying is right or wrong, I am launching my Appium inspector session, and let us see whether the first screen, all the objects are having an accessibility ID. If so, what we can do is moving ahead, whatever the scenarios you are going to deal with on a first screen, whichever the option you want to navigate with, you can directly use an accessibility ID and you can use that particular option. Got it? So let it establish a session, and after that, you can use this command to navigate to this particular alert view functionality. Okay, so I'm just trying to establish a session here with this particular simulator. Let it try to execute. And Yeah, at the very first time, it will take a few minutes time to establish a connection with it. And once the connection got established for the second time and moving ahead, it won't take that much time in order to establish a connection and to locate an objects. Okay, fine. Let's wait. Yeah, it's trying to connect with that device. That's fine. Yeah. So now it established a connection. I'm maximizing this inspector screen. And on this inspector screen, let me navigate to the source code directly, app source code. And on this app source code, let us expand this table. See here, the first one is having a name. And if you highlight this one, we are getting accessibility ID as an activity indicators. Fine. Let me expand the second one. I can see as alerts view as my accessibility ID. So for each and everything, whatever we have an accessibility ID here. Okay, for each and every object, we have an accessibility ID here. The only thing that you guys need to do is just get this accessibility ID and use it in your program. As of now, alert views is the accessibility ID. So I'm just giving alerts view. So I'm asking my program to perform a click operation on this alerts view. Okay, once after you clicked on this alerts view, okay, 1 second, it should click on this alert view. This is the screen it's been populated. And of all these options, as of now, my first scenario that I want to deal with is a simple alert. So I'm selecting this as simple. And if you see here, even in this HTML information, whatever we have, the simple, and here it is having an accessibility ID as a simple. Okay, let me get this accessibility ID from here as a simple. And okay, simple is my accessibility ID, and I want to perform a click operation on that. Okay, fine. I just used a tab, and this is what the alert it's being populated. So here there is an OK button. Again, the OK button is having an accessibility ID. And if at all you want to deal with any other operation, see here, this is what the complete text that it's being populated. See here, XUI is static text. This is what the value attribute is. And you have a value name and as well as a label attributes. And the accessibility ID, if you observe most of the times, whatever the text it's being displayed, the same text will be considered it as an accessibility ID. Okay, that's fine. So let me get this value property. Upon clicking on this simple driver dot find element by accessibility ID dot. Okay, so I just want to go with, okay, here instead of find element, I got a find elements. Okay, dot size. Okay, I just want to print how many objects are there with this. Of course, you can use any kind of an assertion out over here, but as it's populated as a find elements, I just want to get the size of the objects which are having this accessibility ID. And later, I want to click on this OK operation. That's fine. Copy this command and paste this command here, and I'm giving accessibility ID as an OK. Let me try to run my test script and see how this execution is going on. So I just started executing my test script, and if you can check it out over here, it should navigate to the alerts view. And okay, I guess it handled that simple as well, and it is returning these objects as a 2. Okay, it was supposed to return the size or the objects count as a 1, but it is returning as a 2. Why? Accessibility ID. Okay, a short title. Okay, we have a short title. Okay, see here, basically why we are getting these 2 means here we have a short title. this is the place where we have a short title, and here is the place where we have a short title. I think somewhere in this particular page, there are certain objects which are having the same accessibility ID. As of now, this is the one that is visible for us. And somewhere, see here, basically, if I highlight this one, it is having a name property, and the name is having a short title is best. And here also a short title is the best. So the assertion text, whatever we have a using is not a valid one. That's the reason it's not coming as an appropriate value. But even if you see that, the count it retrieved as a 2. That's fine. Let me rerun my program and check it out whether it is performing a click operation on that OK button or not. Let's have a look into that. Alerts view, simple. It clicked on that OK. Perfect. Done the deal. So this is the way how exactly we can handle these alerts. Any questions for me on this?
Yes, Surendra. Surendra, you are saying like the the size is given as 2, right?
Hmm.
Like, is it taking all the elements, like whichever is throwing a short title is best?
Yes, of course.
Like,
So here we used a find elements, not a single element, right? So whenever we use the elements, it will be getting the complete set of information, which is a matching with this accessibility ID. That's the reason it is retrieving as a 2. And moreover, we are working on this is not a generic title, right? Like assume that you want to verify something like, um, um, user created. So if you consider user created successfully, definitely on the pop-up it will be the only valid, and there is a possibility for only one title or one object or one text will be there. But as of now, we are passing a generic text out over there stating that a short title is best. So it's a generic statement. There is a possibility to have this statement for one or more objects. That's the reason it's retrieving size as a 2.
But in pop-up,
okay,
it is showing only one, right? It is visible thing.
See, one thing. So here, let us, if at all, we just need to cross check whether it is the valid one or whether the APM is retrieving the proper thing or not. The only way what we can do is we can just, you know, try to debug the entire source code out over there, and we need to navigate to the individual tags and check it out whether we have a multiple tags with the same name or not. Okay, that's the only option whatever we have. Okay, one second. Let me try doing here itself. So a short title is the best. Okay, so here I'm using an accessibility ID and I'm clicking on a find. See here, the first one. See here, in an inspector session itself, your APM is recognizing that the whole box itself is having that accessibility ID. And the second one is, this is the object which is having that. Even in the source code also earlier,
okay,
we have seen these two. Okay, APM is recognizing these two things. That's the reason it retrieved the size as a 2 here in our situation.
okay. No,
Okay.
I thought like, can you please go to this
Source,
application? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So here, what I thought is like the simple OK or cancel, like these alert views. Like I thought the count as 2. Like everything is out of all of them. Like only 2 are showing this kind of pop up. That's what I thought. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool. Done the deal. Yeah, so this is the thing. And yeah, so let's rejoin the session and let us continue about the further examples. Okay. So we have already seen how to handle a simple alerts. Now let us see how to handle this okay or a cancel. See, there is no difference here. If you observe, we are not asking our program to switch to any alert and to perform operations. We are just directly identifying the desired objects, and we are asking our program to perform a click operation. See here, in the current situation, we have a OK and a cancel. On the OK and a cancel, we have a OK button and as well as a cancel button. So I need to write down a program that will be handling this OK and as well as a cancel. So let me copy this alert code 1, whatever the alert code 1 is there. I'm placing this alert code here, and I just want to write down the further logics inside that. So here in this alert to OK oblique cancel. So this is what OK oblique cancel is there here. OK oblique cancel. And upon clicking on this OK oblique cancel, this is what the pop-up it's being coming up, and in which I want to click on a cancel. And I'm assuming that it has an accessibility ID, and I'm directly using this accessibility ID as a cancel. Okay, if you clearly observe in this situation, I haven't used any locators. I directly used my accessibility IDs, and I am asking my program to click on those accessibility IDs itself. Let me try to run my test script and see whether it is handling this scenario or it is failing anywhere here. Okay, so let us see this. So here it navigated to OK and I cancel, and it clicked on that particular cancel button. And if you want to click on that OK button, you can just use a OK, and you can use that particular operation, and you can perform that particular operation too. And on this a UI catalog application and an alert view, there is an other. You can choose the choice one, other. Okay, where is this others? You can use a choice to other, you can use a cancel. You can do this particular thing. The only thing that you need to do is, I'm just creating a multiple programs for an easy readability, nothing more than that. So here alert 3 is the program, and here I wanna click on others first. After navigating to this screen, I wanna click on others, and upon others, I wanna click on a cancel. So that's it. So it will be navigating to the alerts view first, and then it will be clicking on others, and then it will be clicking on a cancel on that particular others. When I run my test script as a Java program now, it will be performing the same operation. Let us see how this is going to work. And a cancel, it performed that cancel operation. That's it. So this is the way how exactly we can deal with it. And after that, on the same alerts view, I just want to cover all the types of alerts that we have. Say basically text alerts. There is a text field, okay, and as well as a cancel. So what I'm doing right now means copy this program, paste this program again. I'm just pasting this program with a new program, and I'm just considering it as a text entry. So here text entry, and on this the text entry I am asking to perform a click operation. Okay, let me try to run this script, run as a Java application, and first of all let us see whether it is performing a click operation or not, and later we can see how exactly we can enter a value. Okay, it's been performing that particular operation. Now what I'm doing means I switch back to my Appium inspector session, and I'm establishing a new inspector session here. Okay, let us establish a new Appium inspector session. And on this Appium inspector, let us navigate to that particular text field screen. Okay, here is the screen basically. I was navigated. And here, if you observe the locators for this, the text field is having a XCUI type element others. Usually, it is having something related to text. Let me cross check once. Okay, this is what the whole alert is. Expand it, scroll view. This is what the complete body is. Okay, this is what the complete body is. Short name is good. And here, this is the thing. And this is what the text field it is getting highlighted. XCUI type cell. And this is the one. Okay, horizontal XCUI type cell. Now, so with this, it will be difficult for us to identify this object, right? So XCUI type cell, this is what, not the actual object ones. Let us see. Okay, let us see if we have any other locators. 1 second. It's missing somewhere. Okay, it should be having something related to a text field, then only you can handle that text field. Else you can't handle that particular text field. Okay, that's the reason I was just searching whether we have any other locators or not. See, if you observe in this situation, see this bottom whenever I have a selected, the mobile keypad is also populating here. So for this a keypad also it's highlighting the locators. Okay, for the keypad also it's highlighting the locators. The simple tricky way how can we deal with this one is, say this is highlighting the complete keypad, right? Let me show you a simple thing. Okay, we will come back to that locator for that text field, but let us see. Let us see here once. So this is what a type of keyboard is. So let us see the locators for these individual keyboards. See here, each and every key is having an accessibility ID. Every key. So Q is having an accessibility ID as a Q. U is having an accessibility ID as a Q. Everything is having its own accessibility ID. Okay, everything is having its own accessibility ID. And return, space, 1, 2, 3, delete, all these things are having individual things. If you click on a return, that pop-up is closed. Okay, and whenever you click on that particular text field, automatically your cursor is being blinked in that particular text field, and this keyboard is being populated. So what I'm doing right now means driver dot find element. Okay, by dot accessibility ID, or directly let's go with a by dot accessibility ID dot a click command itself. I just want to perform a click operation, and this time I want to click on a Q. So what is this Q? Basically, this is what a key is. Say this is the queue. So I am asking my program to perform a click operation on a queue. So when it performed a click operation on this queue, see here, if you observe, when it performed a click operation on this queue, the queue is being populated there. Okay, that's what it needs to do. Okay, let's, after this operation, before performing this cancel, let's wait for a second to see whether it is performing that operation or not. Let me try to run my test script and see whether it is handling this alert or not, and handling this text field or not. I'm executing my Java program. Text, see here, Q got pressed. It waited for a few seconds and it performed a click operation. And usually in a real world, there are certain situations where we need to perform the click operation from these keyboard commands. So the only thing is, each and every keyboard command or a keyword key is having its own accessibility ID. The only thing that you need to do is you just need to identify that accessibility ID, and you need to perform the click operation as per that accessibility ID itself. As per that accessibility ID itself, you just need to perform this operation. That's it. Good. Any questions on this, guys, or you are good so far?
Yeah, Surendra, like, can we use robot class here?
Robot class. Okay, Java robot class that we are using as
Yes.
the cursor is blinking. I think we can use, but by default we were able to handle it using this command, right? Just 1 second. Let me give it a try. Okay, I never used a robot class. Basically, I just used this regular this command itself. Okay, let us give it a try. Just give me a minute. Okay.
We have other classes, right? So the inbuilt classes. In the action class, we can pass the key events, right?
Yes, we do have a different sets of options in order to perform this particular stuff, but this is the way you can use. This is only a kind of a one way which we can use it also. Okay, so this is a one way basically which we can use.
For this scenario, you are just clicking
Huh.
Q1.
Yes,
But if I
using a
want to pass
keyword.
any text means, then how will be
If at all you
handled?
want to pass any text, then you need to identify the exact locator for this particular field. So we need to identify the complete exact locator. Usually the text fields in any web page will have an XCUI static test, some kind of locators is there for that particular text field. So we need to get that particular text field locator, and we need to pass on that information. As of now, the locator whatever we are getting, it's not directly having this info. So if you observe, it's just identifying this short label first, and after that, from there it's being redirecting here. Okay, that's what the problem is. So the only thing that in this current generic example, what we can do is, whatever the locator, it's being populated. So there is no unique object that we can identify using this text field. See, there is a type of an XUI test other, but almost each and every object is having the same XUI type element other itself. You can't go with this property also. In such situations, the only way that you can do is, from this a complete pop-up you need to come up. Okay, so here assume that this is what your complete pop-up is. Okay, this is what your complete pop-up is. From here you need to drill down. you need to write down your XPath from here. So from this, okay, so 1 second, let me copy this XPath and let me generate a new inspector session and let me show you how this is going to work. Let it load. So you need to come from the parent XPath and you just need to write down that information. Okay, so XPath, and what is the object it's being highlighting? This is what the complete locator that it's being highlighted. Okay, and let us see the complete locator. Okay, so from this you are navigating to a particular object which is having this particular scroll view. In this, you are navigating to a child which is having a scroll view, and inside the scroll view you are navigating to another, or here you can simply start from here, basically XCUI static test, and you can go back to its parent. You can go back to its parent, and from the parent you can switch back to its sibling. Okay, you can identify this object. From this object, see the hierarchy that you need to do. From this object you need to go back to the parent, and from this parent you can come back to the sibling, and from here you can drill down. This is the another way. Usually 99% of the cases, every text field will have a static text, some locator is there, some static text locator is there, with which we can easily identify the text field and we can handle it. So these many text fields are there, right? Let us check it out. What exactly the locator these text fields are having, whether they are having these XCA other or the text fields itself. See here, XCUI type text field. So this is what a type text field is. And if at all I'm writing down any XPath with this type, at the rate a type is equal to, I can find all the text fields which are having this particular type attribute. But in that situation, whatever we are dealing right now, it's not having this XCI type text field. If it is having this text field, directly you can use a simple this command and you can handle this way. But we are not getting for this particular object. So the only way is whatever the parent object is there, come from the parent or come from the sibling, and then you can just use it. Yeah, so I just did a text field and it is highlighting the text field. Can you see here? So in the HTML, I was unable to identify this XUI type element text field. See here. So this is what the HTML. Na? So let us deep dive into that. So here, collection view, and this is having an XUI element other, XUI element other, others and others. Okay, let me expand this one and see. So okay, here also we have this a text field. See here, XUI element type text field. As this is a text field, directly you can use this XPath and you can come back here. Driver dot find element by XPath I can use. Find element by XPath, and I can use a dot send keys a command of Surendra. I can simply use this command, it will work. So if at all you are able to identify that particular locator, then it's easy. You can use a simple send keys command to handle that particular operation. As said that most of the text fields will be having these, type text fields, you can deal with it. And if at all any secure fields are there, like a password and all those things, it will be having some secure text field. In other situations, almost everything is having these text fields itself. Okay, cool. So this is the way how exactly we can deal with these different types of alerts. Yes. Okay, so the first scenario that I want to cover as part of the today's session is navigating to the date picker. And by default, the December 7th is there in the calendar. Maybe we can pick a December 10th. Okay, maybe we can pick December 10th, and sometime we can just set it up as part of this calendar. So using this program, okay, using an Appium script, how exactly we can achieve this particular functionality. So what I have done is I have already launched my Eclipse editor and I have already established a session in my Appium. So now I'm creating a previous program, whatever we have created. I'm just copying one of the existing program and I'm pasting a new program and I'm naming it as a date picker. Okay, so data picker. So in this data picker, I don't want to use the existing commands, since I'm deleting all those things. And the only thing that I want to do is accessibility ID dot, what is the first screen I want to click? A data picker. So I'm just giving this a date picker. Okay, so I have given a name as a date picker. As we have seen in a previous session, almost every object in a first screen is having an accessibility ID. Directly, you can click on it. Now in the Appium inspector session, just reload it once so that the latest screen will be populated. Now I just need to perform a click operation somewhere here. So we have an accessibility ID, date and a time picker that's been prompting up a new pop-up for us. So again, I'm just using driver dot find the element. Okay, find the element by accessibility ID. And I'm using this dot click command again. So I'm just asking it to perform this click operation on this accessibility ID. Okay, so whenever you perform a click operation on this accessibility ID, it's been prompting a pop-up for us. So I just clicked on this particular option, and this is the pop-up that it's being populated. Now, let me select any data here. See here, guys, whatever the data you want to select here, every data is having its accessibility ID. So whatever the data you want to pick it up, it has its accessibility ID. So 9 is having its accessibility ID, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all are having the value, whatever that it is being prompted, it's being displayed as an accessibility ID. So what I'm going to do right now means I just want to click on this accessibility ID where I want to give 12 as my date basically. Okay, where I just want to give 12 as my date. This is what I want to deal with it. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm doing is I'm asking my program to perform a click operation, which is having an accessibility ID as a 12. And later, so here I just want to enter this time value. So here you have a time value. So the name is the time. And let me try to change this name as, okay, so 444 and click on a send keys. And let us see whether the time is being updated in that particular text, in that particular field, or we are getting any error messages. So with the accessibility ID, whatever, or with the object, whatever we have, we were able to enter the updated time out over there. So copy this XPath, go back to your program and driver dot find element by XPath. And I want to perform a send keys operation, and I'm just giving all the numbers directly 4444. So here, even if you observe in this previous situation also, I have given just the numbers, as the application is having a delimiter right after that particular single 4. So the colon is being appended by that application itself. Gets done the deal. And after this particular action, okay, that's fine. I just want to click on this AM. And again, the AM is having a separate accessibility ID. Let me get this accessibility ID. Let me go back here. So driver dot find element by accessibility ID. And I want to perform a click operation on that. I want to perform a click operation on that. That's it. This is the simple thing. I just asked it to perform a click operation. That's it, guys. We have just performed all these operations. So let us go back and let us see how exactly the script is being executed. So run as a Java application. It's being executed. Let us see how the script is getting executed in this situation. Okay, so it should click on a 12 first. Okay, and it's not clicking. Okay, the 12 was not selected here. So guys, if you clearly observe, I noticed that it's having an accessibility ID, but somehow the 12, it got a performed a click operation, but the data is not selected. The date 12 is not selected. For me, for better understanding, what I'm doing means I'm just opening my source code here, and I just want to study why I am unable to perform a click operation on that date. Okay, so let me expand this date picker and let us see what is the reason behind that. See here, month is having an accessibility ID, that's fine. And this is what the picker wheel is, that's fine. The time picker is having a separate chunk, and here is the dates. Okay, let me expand it. See here, guys, if you observe each and everything, for us, we noticed as a 12 basically, but whenever you are observing in a source code, basically the accessibility ID is a bit differ. See here, Sunday, December 12th. This is what the accessibility ID for that particular 12th. So I'm just changing this accessibility ID and I'm trying to rerun the test script to check whether that particular option is performing or not. So let us see how this is exactly going to work. So as of now, the 12 got selected and even AM got a selected from this particular calendar. Okay, AM got a selected from this particular calendar. That's it. So this is the way how exactly we can pick a date here. Okay, this is the way how exactly we can pick a date from a date picker. So we have a selected a date. If you observe, guys, okay, you have a picked a date and even you have a selected some time value also. Okay, you have a selected a date and you have a selected a time value also. And that's it. So this is the way how exactly we can deal with it. Okay, perfect. Done the deal. And here we have this, this functionality which is changing these values. Okay, we have a separate functionality to deal with it. Okay, we will see moving ahead with the next scenario. Okay, if at all any rotation is there, basically how exactly you need to deal with this. So we call it as this picker wheels. If at all some information is there as part of a picker wheels, how exactly you can deal with these picker wheels would be our next scenario. But as part of this scenario, if you clearly observe, this is the way how exactly we can switch to it and how exactly we can handle a dates. Good. Any questions for me on this?
No, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. Then the next point here is I'm copying this code. Okay, I'm copying this code and I'm pasting this code. Picker wheel. Okay, and in this particular picker wheel, so now on the app home screen, so we need to select picker view, right? We just need to select the picker view. So I'm deleting all the unnecessary chunks. The first one, it's going to be the picker view. Okay, so picker view. Let me cross check. So here, picker view. It will be clicking on a picker view. Now here you have three different options. First, second, and as well as a third. Three different options are there. And out of these three different options, you just need to change their respective values. Okay, you just need to change their respective values. So what I'm doing right now means I'm just navigating to this picker view screen in my Appium inspector. And on that Appium inspector picker view screen. So this is what a complete, okay, the first section is. So the picker got split it into three different views, and even the locators are also prompting in a three views, basically blue, green, and a red. So the extreme right end is a blue color component. The center component is a green color component, and the extreme left component is a red color component. And by default, the value whatever we have in that particular field is a 65. And if you see the second one, it's a 205, and the value attribute is a 120. So you have an individual value attributes and the values are being populated. Okay, and upon clicking on that, let me add an accessibility ID. And the simple way how I am dealing with this one is find the element by accessibility ID, and I'm using a send keys command, and I want to give 70 into that. So this is what the first object, right? The red color component. The red color component is talking about the first object. So here you can pass a 70, 75, 80, 60, 55, whichever it might be, you can pass that particular value. So as of now, I'm just passing 70 as a component for the first field. Okay, for the first field. And for this green component, I just want to pass with the 210, the upcoming value. So here I'm just copying this command for 2 times and then I'm pasting it here, 210. Okay, so here the green component is having a value as a 210. And the next one is the blue component, the next value is just 125. So here I'm just changing this one to 125. That's it. I've just passed on these values here. So pick a view, and I'm just trying to pass these values using a simple send keys, a command itself. And when I run my test script, and if you observe the test script execution right now, all the views, all the values, whatever we have passed will be updated. Okay. See here, 70, 210 and 125 were updated in that particular application, guys. Okay, so on this particular picker view, the views, okay, whatever the values you have passed, you can use this particular values, and that information will be updated on that particular application. Okay, good. 70 and something is a 210. If it's already having a 210, I can change it to 215 basically. If you want to change it to 215, automatically this will be updated. Okay, perfect. Done the deal. And here on this UIKit catalog application, there is a web view. At the bottom of the screen, there is a web view. This is a HTML content inside that, but there is a no, okay, just the content got displayed, but there is no specific information for this particular content, guys. Okay, so there is a web view tab, and upon navigating to the web view, there are no locators are there. Just it is displaying that this is what a HTML content information is. So what I'm going to do right now means whatever the Android script that we have prepared, so the web view, I'm copying that Android script web view and I'm directly placing that Android script web view here. And in this particular web view, the few things that I'm changing right now is creating an object. So whatever the desired capabilities that we have passed for Android, I'm just replacing the whole chunk with an iOS basically. So here, if you observe what are we doing right now means in this application, okay, this is what a different program is. Okay, so in this application, so we just need to click on this web view. Okay, on this application home screen, you just need to click on this web view. And upon clicking on a web view, you just need to get the context. So here we have a program that will be getting now the context. Right. So here, what exactly the context we have? Let me see. So here, I'm not changing the context command. Whatever the command we used in our Selenium, the Android piece, I'm just copying that particular code and I'm just reusing the same code here. I'm not changing anything else here. Just copy paste that particular instance and use it here. Okay, so let me open up this web view that we have created. And on this, once after it clicked on a pick a whale, I'm asking to, okay, this web view basically. So I'm just asking it, whatever the contexts are there, get all those contexts. And once after you captured all the contexts, now you just need to print those contexts here. I'm not doing anything, guys. I'm just opening the application and I'm clicking on this web view. And upon clicking on this web view, okay, this is what a web view is. I'm asking my program to get the context and print the context. Let me try to run my test script. This application is not having any particular operations, further operations in a web view. It's just a static page basically. See here, native app and as well as a web view, both the instances are there for this app and it got retrieved. And if at all you are using an application which has these instances directly, which has some other options inside that, you can perform those further scenarios on that. But for now, this is the application that we are using which don't have that stuff. Hence, we are not doing anything on it. Okay, good. Done the deal. And then what I'm doing right now means I have downloaded some other sample application from GitHub, and I'm trying to use whether that application will work here. So I'm trying to generate that. Okay, I'm trying to generate that particular app instance. Okay, and let me try to establish a start session. .app start the session. Okay, an unknown conventional exception app path needs to be an absolute. The file user Saucelabs does not exist, is not accessible. So I have directly downloaded some app files, and we are getting that this app file is not accessible. This app file. Okay, that's fine. So as of now, for today, we can frame these scenarios on this particular the source app, the UICatalog app, whatever we are using. Maybe the upcoming scenarios we will try to see on a different application. But for now, let's continue using the same scenarios on this application. Okay, good. And then the next point that we need to consider here is, so far, if you observe guys, what we have done is, so we handled a date picker, we handled a picker wheels, we handle a web views, and if at all there are any text fields, you can use a simple send keys command in order to handle any kind of a text fields. There is no specific restriction that you just need to use a separate set of commands. You can use a simple send keys command to handle this. And there are switches. Basically, you can just toggle on and off these switches. So you can find a unique locator for this switch, and you can simply toggle on and off for that particular switch. So for today, let me write down a program that will toggle on and off for this particular switch. Okay, so I'm executing the program now, the scripts, and here, where is this switch? This is the switch basically, and I just want to perform this operation. So here, this is what my first switch is, and here name default, and this is what the first switch is. So here, yeah, this is highlighting that, and XUI element type switch. So the switch is having a type attribute. Let me copy this attribute and let me write down my XPath // open braces at the rate type is equal to. I'm clicking on this search button. As there are two switches, the switches are identified with this XPath. So I can use this locator, to perform this operation. So I'm just copying some existing code and I'm placing here, and I'm naming it as a switch. And on this switch, basically to navigate into this screen, you need to click on a switches of this accessibility ID, switches of that particular accessibility ID. And then this is what an XPath is. I just need to click on that particular XPath, driver dot, okay, find element by XPath, and I want to perform a click operation on that. Okay, driver dot find element by XPath, and I just want to use a click operation on that. Okay, that's fine. Done the deal. What I have done here. Driver dot find element by XPath. Find element by XPath dot a click. So when there are multiple objects are there, usually this command will be performing a click operation on the first occurrence of that particular object. So when I run my test script, out of those two different switches, it will be performing a click operation on the first switch that it encountered. Okay, that's fine. If I want to further customize this program, I can copy this program and I can paste it here. And what I can use here is, instead of using this click command, I can use a find elements command, and I just want to store these find elements into a list of web elements, and here switches is equal to, I just want to get all the switches information here. And on top of this one, the next point that I need to do is, for int I equal to 0, or you can use directly this web element of, okay, so web element of a switch from the switches, okay, from the switches, switch dot a click. I just want to perform a click operation on all the individual objects whatever we have. So I'm just trying to run this script, and if you observe right now, whatever the switches are there, it will be performing a click operation on those individual switches. In the current instance we have a 2, and it will be performing operation on those 2 itself. That's it. So this is the way how exactly you can handle a switch. Okay, this is the way how exactly you can handle a switch. Okay, good. Done the deal. So yeah, these are all the scenarios that we have a plan for today. So we'll continue the topic with the further scenarios in the next session. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So as part of the today's session, I just want to explain how exactly we can do an integration with a Saucelab. So it means it's becoming common in these days, to execute your automation test scripts precisely. The mobile automation test scripts execution on a cloud platforms, whether it is a Saucelab, AWS device form, whichever it might be, you just need to execute your test scripts, whatever we have prepared in our machine on any cloud platforms. Okay, the key considerations are one and the same. First of all, I will explain about how exactly we can integrate our test script with the SAS, and later I will give you a brief overview or all the simple steps that we need to follow in integrating with any cloud-based solutions, not only Saucelab. This will gives you a brief overview on any cloud-based solutions. Here are the list of steps what exactly we need to follow in integrating our code base with a Saucelab. So the first thing out over here is create an account with a Saucelab first, as my requirement is to perform an operation or my execution on a Saucelab. Go ahead and create your trial account with a Saucelab. If your organization is using any Saucelab, directly use that account. As we are learning, I'm just creating a trial account with a Saucelab, and I have a logged into my account. So here is my account. I have already created one account, and I already logged into my account here. So the first step is create an account and log in into your accounts. Done. This step is done. And once after you are done with it, so in a Saucelab, if at all you want to deal with your applications, you need to add that application to the SaaS storage or a SaaS cloud, basically, from where your Saucelab will retrieve your application and it will install on a virtual device or a real device which you are targeting for. So what I'm going to do right now, we need to upload your app files. So here, in order to upload your app files, go to live, go to mobile apps, and here there is an option for you to upload. As in, when you click on an upload option, it will prompt you to select the file from your machine, and upon clicking on that particular one, automatically that file will be uploaded and you can find the desired uploaded files here. Okay, whatever the APK files you have updated to your account, you can find those APK files information here. And once after you have your APK files information, so here there are some settings option is there, and choose device option is there with respect to the app file what you have uploaded. So I'm clicking on a choose a device, and my requirement is, if you scroll down, basically, I just want to execute on a Saucelab precisely on a particular device, a real device, which is, as I'm using a trial account, only one device is available for me. So Samsung Galaxy S9, I'm clicking on the details tab now, which will display you the Android version as a 9. So here, let me make a note as Android version. Okay, Android version as a 9.0.
And the next one is here, the device name. Whatever the ID value is there, you need to use this ID value as your device name. So copy the device name from here. Okay, I'm just copying my device name here. So device version, I'm just making a note, and a device name. These are the two different capabilities that you need to pass on to your program. I'm just making a note of those two capabilities here. Perfect. Done the deal. Click on this close button. If you go back to the steps, you have uploaded the app, and even you have captured the desired capabilities information with respect to the devices. And after that, see here, let me try to do a session establishment from my Appium server itself. There is an option for you on your Appium server. If you click on this inspector icon, so here there is a Saucelab option is there. If you are unable to find this Saucelab option here, select the cloud provider and you click on a Saucelab and click on a done. Automatically the Saucelab will be prompted here. Choose the Saucelab and it is asking you to pass on the Saucelab username, the Saucelab access key, and the Saucelab data center. These are the three parameters that you need to pass on. So go back to your Saucelab account basically on a browser, and from the account I'm going to the user settings, and here you can find your username. This is what my username value is. Copy my username value, the Saucelab username value, and update it here. And let me make a note of these the Saucelab username. If required, we may use it. So that's the reason I'm just spacing it as sauce uname is equal to. And after that, on this particular account, if you scroll down a bit, there is an access key. Copy this access key, go back to the Appium session and specify your access key here. I have updated my access key. And what about the data center? If you go to your account, on the starting of that particular options itself, you can find the data center EU Central 1. This is what the data center for this particular account is. So here EU Central 1. So I have just chosen EU as my option. And as part of the advanced settings, you just need to check this checkbox, allow unauthorized certificates also, to get rid of upcoming unhandled or unexpected exceptions. Just check this particular checkbox. That's it. These are the things that you have copied and you have updated here. And then the next point that we need to consider is you just need to pass on your capabilities to check whether it is working or not. So I'm using my saved capabilities. I have already created one set of saved capabilities here. Let me expand my capabilities. The automation name is a UI Automator 2. The platform name is an Android. The device name is whatever the device ID we have captured and pasted down here in a notepad document. I am updating my device ID, and the app platform version is a 9.0. And here I'm using this app. This is a direct GitHub release app URL, and this is what one among the Saucelab demo URL. Though I have updated my app into the source storage, I'm just using one of the existing applications available in a Saucelab. And upon passing all these capabilities, I'm just clicking on a start session. Whenever you click on a start session, it will try to fetch this information and it will try to establish a connection with this Saucelab account basically. Okay, so let us see how exactly it's going to establish a connection with this particular account. So it's getting executed. So it means your Appium server with this Saucelab information, it's trying to establish a connection. And of course, the session got established successfully. This is what the app installation screen that got populated. Perfect. And once you are done up to here, go to your Saucelab, refresh your Saucelab instance out over there.
and switch to the automated tab test results, and we have executed on a real device. So I'm changing my environment to a real device. Okay, and if you observe, basically Thursday, Jan 6th, today I have executed this script and it is running. And if you click on this particular one, the complete test details in a Saucelab, it's providing that particular instance here. It's providing that a complete information here. So the ultimate point out over there is the Saucelab is maintaining the log, and even it's capturing the video also. The device is launched and it's trying to install the app on that particular device. All these activities it's performing, and the complete set of events were captured, and the individual logs, whatever exactly the commands got executed, what exactly the log, the complete set of information about the execution, you can find it here. The first instance I have captured it from my, okay, this is the first instance that I have captured it from my Appium inspector session. Now I'm going to my test script directly, and here I'm creating a new script here where in which I just want to add my logic. So whatever the existing scripts are there, I'm just copying one of my existing test scripts and I'm pasting it here. Saucelabs demo app. I just created this test script, which is a Saucelab demo app. And on this one, whatever the unnecessary commands are there, I'm just deleting every set of commands here. You need to pass on the platform name, and the platform version is a 9.0. I do remember. The automation name is a UI Automator 2. The device name is here. I have a documented that device name, and I'm just updating the device name. And the app name, as I have said that the app name, you can give the app whatever you have uploaded in a SaaS account, or we can also access that app using the URL. I'm trying to access this app using a URL. So I have specified this URL. And immediately a quick question will rise in our mind. Surendra, you have just specified these general regular capabilities in our program. How this program will establish a connection with our Saucelab account? So go to the Saucelab account settings from where we have captured that particular access key. If you scroll down a bit on this access key, there is a driver creation URL. So this is the URL in your script. Instead of passing 127.webdriver hub URL, I'm just updating this Saucelab account URL. This URL contains your username followed by your access key, followed by your Saucelab data center. Each and every information, whatever you have passed as part of establishing a session from an APM server, the complete details are there in this particular log itself or in this URL itself. Perfect. Let me try to run my test script from my Eclipse editor and see whether it is establishing a session with these Saucelab or not. Let it execute and let's wait for a minute. It's getting executed. And so one thumb rule here is, from your Eclipse editor, you are establishing a connection to a Saucelab. It means that you no need to start your APM server in your local directly. The complete integration is happening in a Saucelab itself. So the execution will be carried out in a Saucelab itself. So no need of launching your APM server or starting of your APM server in this local machine when you are dealing with these virtual devices. See, the execution got completed in my editor. Let me go back to my browser and let me switch to the test results. And this is what the real device execution is. It completed a minute before. And if I open that particular result, whatever the activities we have performed, we requested it, it tried to perform those operations. As of now, I just asked it to install the app, hence, it will be installing the app on that particular device. So this is what a Swag Labs is. I have already a test script that created in my local to handle this Swag Labs functionality. Okay, let me try to have a look into these Saucelabs code that I have created earlier, so that we can use that particular piece of a code here, the Saucelabs piece of codes. Okay, 1 second. Let me try to pull that code base that I have created earlier. Just give me a second. Yeah, guys. Here is a program that I have created sometime before to perform certain operations on a Saucelabs. I'm copying that particular code base just for a login related functionality, and I'm placing that particular code here inside this, the new Saucelab integration. I haven't done anything. I'm not writing down, I'm not identifying the locators and all those things, as I have already worked on this application sometime before. I tried copying that particular code base and placing here to cross check whether this application is working or not. So let it try to execute, and then we will see the execution summary, how exactly it's going to work on. Okay, let's wait for a minute till the execution got completed so that we can understand whether it is working or not. So it's trying to establish a connection and the logics are going on. Let's have a look into that. Okay. Okay, let it execute. It's taking some time to establish a connection and do that activity. And the thing is, so whenever the app versions we are using and this application, what exactly we are referring to from this URL, there is a small change in the versions. If at all there are small change in the locators also, the scripts will not execute if at all any changes in an accessibility of that particular application. I'm not 100% sure whether the script will work. The reason why I have a copied and pasted this code here is by looking into the application UI, I thought that both are one and the same, hence I have a given that. If you feel that both are not equal, earlier we have a created an Appium inspector session, and from that particular session, identify the desired objects and specify the logic here. Automatically, your test script will execute. Okay, good. Anyways, let this execution complete. So as it is taking this much of time, right? I was assuming that there may be an issue with these locators. That's the reason it's unable to perform that particular operation. Anyways, let's wait for a second and then we'll see if the script got a passed or a failed. Here I have explicitly added around 60 seconds of implicit wait amount of time. So that's the reason it will wait for the implicit wait amount of time on the commands what we have passed here. Okay, so anyways, done the deal. So if you want, you can establish a session from your Appium server, identify the locators and update those locators in your script. So let me kill this session and let me try to establish a session from my Appium server. And let's go back to the test results. Let us see the third result, what happened to that. Okay, so what happened to this third result? Let us have a look into that. Okay, once the result got generated, let's have a look into that. It's still showing as a running, though I stopped my execution in that, so it's still executing. Okay, let's wait until the execution got completed. Until the execution got completed, anyways, you don't find any results here. So that's the reason, let's wait for a second. So here, even it's trying to establish a connection from this Appium inspector as well. Good. So why I'm establishing a connection in an Appium session one more time means to identify the locators and to specify the locators in our program, to create a logic and to execute it. Okay, that's fine. This is all about a Saucelab integration, guys. As I have mentioned here, the app as a particular URL, we were using this app with a particular URL, right? So there is another option also. You can access this app capability. Let me pass on that particular one as an example here, so that when you are trying, if you want, you can use it also. So here, if at all your application is uploaded to any particular account, SaaS storage colon .apk. So what is the .apk? So let's go back here. live mobile app, and whatever the app you want to deal with it, go to settings and here copy the file name and go back to your program and simply specify the file name. SAS storage on this particular account, whatever you have provided, go to that particular storage. Okay, go to that particular storage and deal with it. Okay, go to that particular storage and deal with it. That's it. So this is the way how exactly we can pass on the apps from a SaaS storage. But this is the way how exactly we can perform an integration with a Saucelab. Good. Done the deal. So let me reload the session. I got an Appium inspector session here. Let me try to reload it and see how it's going on. Okay. Go to automation, go to test results. The previous execution got completed. Okay, let me try to watch the video, what exactly it was generated earlier. Okay. So it doesn't perform any operations. Okay, the script got a failed. Okay, that's fine. Go to the test results and see this time basically. So even the session was not established properly. That's the reason we are unable to identify the locators. If the session got established properly, you how exactly you can identify the locators. You can copy the locators and you can directly use those locators in your program. Okay, you can give it a try how exactly to deal with this functionality. Give it a try from your end. Perfect. And on top of this one, so this is the way how exactly we can deal with a Saucelab. Immediately, a quick question will rise in our mind. Surendra, you have explained about a Saucelab, but in our organization, we are using a AWS device farm or some other cloud devices. How exactly we can access it? So there are certain thumb rules which you need to consider. Okay, no matter whatever the cloud platform you are using, so the driver configuration URL will be there for every cloud platform, and there are capabilities available to identify the device information also. The only thing that you need to do, no matter whatever the cloud-based solutions you are using, you just need to identify what exactly the driver configuration URL for that particular account for that AWS device form, followed by what is my device, what is my device ID, and what is my device operating system version. If I am handling these three things, which is more than enough for me to deal with it. And there are certain situations where you need to use an app file from your local, or where you can upload your app file into that particular cloud platforms also. Either the ways, whatever the mechanism the cloud platforms are providing, you can use that particular mechanism and you can simply establish a connection with that particular thing. Okay, so this is all about how we are going to integrate with the Saucelab and performing these operations, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.